Hi there, how's it going? This is James Tripp. This is Hypnosis Without Trance. It's November 2012 and this is the second take recording this video because the one I've just done was way too long. So I'm going to attempt to get this topic down into a super tight, super focused, super concise format. What we're going to be talking about is rapport, the concept of rapport and how necessary rapport is for doing formal overt hypnosis. I'm also going to be talking about conversational hypnosis a bit and general everyday influence, but the subject is rapport, and it has come up following last week's Rapid Induction Rituals teleseminar. After that seminar, I got asked a question via email, which I think is a very good question, which is, must you be in rapport at the start for good results? Now, this was relating to rapid induction rituals, but I think it's an equally good question about any kind of hypnosis because it's all the same. Hypnosis is hypnosis in a formal hypnosis context, whether you're doing rapid induction rituals, whether you're going straight for a phenomenon, okay? So the question is, must you be in rapport at the start for good results? Now, my perspective on this, my instant reflex would be to say, no, not really, okay? But that's not really fair. First thing I'm going to have to put my hand up and admit is I never actually think about this stuff in terms of rapport. I don't personally find rapport to be a rich enough or useful enough concept to tick all the boxes I need it to tick to be able to handle the relationship, the relational aspects of doing hypnosis. Okay, now let me just explain what I mean by relational aspects. Let's just bring up an image here for a second, and you can see on this image we have a yin-yang, and it has task in one aspect and it has relationship in another aspect. Now, if you know my definition of hypnosis, you know it's about the use of language and communication to direct attention and seed ideas for the purpose of leading somebody into an altered perception of reality. So this is a very task-based definition. We're using language and communication in a specific way to do a specific thing. It's very task-based. But if you look at the yin-yang here, this relates to all communication, not just hypnosis. We need to be aware of the relational aspects as well, because when you are dealing with a task that is between two people, they are a human being. You have to relate to them, they have to relate to you. The task takes place within the context of relationship. So there's task and relationship. Bear this in mind. So, rapport. Is rapport necessary? This is a relational quality, rapport. Let me just share the definition from Wikipedia for a moment. It says, rapport occurs when two or more people feel that they are in sync or on the same wavelength because they feel similar or relate well to each other. So that's rapport. That's the concept of rapport. So do you need to be in sync with the person you're going to work with? Do you need to be on the same wavelength? Do you need to feel similar or relate well to each other? Well, you don't need to be in deep rapport. That much I'm going to say straight off the bat. Deep rapport is not necessary. You need enough of a connection with the person to be able to communicate effectively with them and for them to be able to open up to you. So for me, I never think in terms of rapport because it doesn't give me enough information about what to do. There's all that stuff in NLP about matching and mirroring, and to be brutally honest about it, as a retired NLP trainer, I don't think that matching and mirroring stuff is all that. I think it's an interesting part of the picture, but it certainly is a long way from the be-all and end-all of the non-verbal communication elements around rapport or interpersonal connection or relational aspects of communication, okay? So I want to share with you now 4 elements that I think are much more useful to consider instead of rapport, rather than thinking about rapport. And I think they're more useful to consider because they give you more of a, to use a metaphor, more of a handle on what's going on and more of an ability to influence that. And I want to say ahead of time, these 4 elements, these are not communicated by what you say. They're not communicated by what you say. They are communicated by how you say it. And not just how you say it, but how you stand, how you move, all the non-verbal elements of the communication. These are the parts that manage the relational aspects of the interaction. This is all about non-verbal influence. So let's look at these 4 elements. We've got trust, we've got authority, we've got responsiveness, and we've got respect. Now, first and foremost, trust. If you're going to do formal hypnosis with somebody, you are going to be entering into what I've called the hypnotic partnership. They are going to be volunteering to partake in an experience. And it's an experience whereby they are opening themselves up to your leadership and your guidance. And in often cases, they're opening themselves up to you, having you tinker with their mind, so to speak, play with the edges of their mind and alter their reality. Trust is an important aspect here. If the person does not feel they can trust you, they will not step up to play the game. I've talked about this elsewhere, that hypnosis is like a game. You need to get people to stop playing their own game of life, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they organize their reality, and you need them to step into a different game, a game that you are leading. So you are going to be directing their attention, you are going to be directing their thoughts, you are going to be taking leadership of their reality shaping process. They need to trust you. Trust is communicated non-verbally. So think about that. How does a trustworthy person behave? I'm not going to get into the full details of the body language. I'm just going to introduce the concepts. And you can't do this by pure body language. You have to do this from the inside out. You have to genuinely have good intentions and be looking out for that person if you're going to have them trust you. Now, the second element here is authority. Authority is an important thing. You are going to be the leader of this dynamic. You are going to be taking charge. You need to be an authority. You need to act like an authority. You need to walk like an authority. You need to talk like an authority. Now, there's a key thing I want to point out here, a key distinction. This is about being authoritative in your communication and in what you do without being authoritarian. Okay, it's not about bossing people about. It's not about being aggressive and pushy and all of these things. Be centered, be in charge, be authoritative. Now, this is about something really, really important. This affects every element of life. It's to do with status. Essentially, as human beings, we are mammals, which means we have this encoded status maneuvering that goes on virtually every single interaction. We're either playing higher status, lower status to the other person, or attempting to match status. There's fluctuating status dynamics in every single interaction. You need to know how to manage these status dynamics. Now, this is an art in and of itself, so I'm just touching the surface here. But when you learn how to manage the status dynamics, you learn how to manage the situation so you can be the authority, so you can be the leader you need to be in that context. This applies just as much to everyday influence and conversational hypnosis as formal hypnosis. So bear that in mind. Be the authority. Know how to play status appropriately. Know how to be authoritative without being authoritarian. Third element is responsiveness. Responsiveness is really, really important. Now, this is a bit more ongoing. It's a less of an abstract concept, more of a temporally orientated, ongoing process. You need to be, first of all, building responsiveness in the person you're working with. Now, if you know the Hypnosis Without Trance material, the Hypnosis Mastery Program material, you know all about that. You know all about flag testing, building responsiveness, this kind of thing. The flip side of it is you need to be responsive to what is happening in the moment. You need to be alive to what's happening. If you're not alive to what's happening, the subject will generally know. And if you're not alive to what's happening, if you're not responding and meta-communicating or sub-communicating that response, and it's very simple. It's just that when you notice something, you respond to it. That's right, or you go, you know, and just notice that. These kinds of things which suggest that you are aware of what's happening and you are alive to what's happening. So you need to be responding. Responsiveness increases authority, feeds back into authority, which again feeds back and reinforces trust. So these elements all work together. The last element I'm going to mention is respect and respectfulness, because this is a really, really important thing, I believe, okay, and I think a lot of people abuse this element. They gain trust initially with somebody, they take them into an experience, and then they stop respecting them. I've seen a lot of abusive hypnosis routines. I recommend respecting the person you're working with and maintaining that respect throughout the process. Now, when you respect somebody, when you have genuine respect for them as a human being and as a self-sovereign human being, as somebody who is an authority in their own life, when you go to take that authority for a time, do so respectfully, not pussyfooting around, not low status and saying, oh, please, do you mind if I do this? Still high status, still authoritative, but respectful at the same time. It creates a quality which is sometimes called happy high status. When somebody is happy high status, they're very centered, they are still responsive and respectful to the other person. They're not arrogant, they're not aloof, they're still attending to that other person, but they're doing so from a place of authority. So all of these elements fit together. That respect one is really, really important, because I'm hoping that when you do hypnosis with people, you are always leaving them better than when, at least as empowered in their lives as when you met them, and better still, even more empowered. So those are the 4 elements I think are really, really important. I could probably bring in more, but those are the ones I want to talk about here. Trust, authority, which is to do with status and how you manage status non-verbally, responsiveness, which is down to attention to what is happening in the moment, and respect, which is just seeing this person as a human being, seeing this person as a person who deserves to be treated well and with consideration. Now, as I mentioned, these things are not about language patterns. These things are not about recipes. These things are about mastering non-verbal dynamics, the non-verbal elements of communication. This is something I can't go into greatly. I would love to go into on the videos here, but this is something that needs to be shown, demonstrated. You need to be taken through this. On the 26th of January 2013 in Letchworth Garden City, I'm going to be running a workshop on non-verbal influence. Okay, this is how to manage these things, how to engender trust, how to manage the status dynamics within an interaction, how to convey respect, how to get what you want to have happening and support that with the relational aspects, back to that yin-yang again, the relational aspects which are all communicated non-verbally. You can have all the language patterns you like, you can have all the hypnosis recipes you like, but if you don't have that relational side down, if you don't have that working, it's not likely to work. Okay, and also this workshop is covering these things from the perspective of formal hypnosis and conversational hypnosis or everyday influence as well. What you do non-verbally is a massive element of how you impact on other people. Okay, that's as much as I need to say on this right now. If you have any questions about any of these 4 relational aspects to doing hypnosis or influence, or have any questions around the non-verbal communication elements, please do ask those in the comment section below on the blog. Please do leave any other comments that you would like to leave. I'd love to hear from you, and I look forward to helping you out however I can with that stuff. Thank you very much for listening. Have a fantastic week. Look after yourselves. Enjoy hypnosis. Enjoy brain wrangling. Enjoy exploring human dynamics. Until I see you next.